What's going on, everybody? We're back. Inform Nation Live. InformNationLive.com is the website. Thanks to everybody who checked out last episode, the 48 Laws of Power. And we're back again to do 48 Laws of Power Part 2. I hope throughout this week you went out and at least grabbed this book or at least checked this book out. I know a lot of people last week were talking about it. We were talking about it. We got callers last week just loving the show. We got so many people just enjoying it. So let's jump into it. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get back into the 48 Laws of Power right now.
How's it going up there in Illinois town?
Illinois town, it is nice and hot and steamy. This entire week has been 90s and humid. I hope wherever you are, I hope it's nice and sunny and cool and not like Illinois.
It's rainy and it's humid all the time.
Sounds like Florida.
It does, it does sound a lot like Florida.
Should I rather be in Florida than Illinois? I mean, come on now. It's like the place. It's like God's waiting room.
Yeah, right?
That's way.
Okay, I'm picking up on that God's waiting room. You get all the old retired people down here. God's waiting room. Okay.
Dude, honestly, if you live in Florida, anybody, I'm sorry, but the roads have just got to be slammed with old drivers. Is it that bad out there for real?
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually today there was like a car that pulled onto the lane like way in front of the guy in front of me. And this guy like slammed on his brakes and he's like 200, 300 feet from the guy that pulled in. I'm like, yo, man, like you don't need to like drop down to 30. We're all going like 70.
I hate those people. You know what those people need? Those people need the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, they do.
So we left off, we did the first 20 laws. So we're going to hit you with the next, what is that? 20, 40, 28 laws. We're going to cover 28 laws in 1 hour. It's going to be quick.
Boom, we got to go fast. Hopefully we'll catch them all.
But it's going to be on point the entire time, and I know you're going to love it. So let's just jump right in. We finished off with Law 20. If you have the book, turn to page... What is this? It's like in the contents, page 7, where the abandoned contents are. We're going to go through this. If you don't have it, go on Google right now, pull up the PDF, 48 Laws of Power. If you don't, get it somewhere, look for it.
It's actually page 12.
Okay, we're doing page 12. All right, even better. Page 12. All right, so Law 21. Let's just jump right in because I'm just ready. I'm excited. I'm ready to get learning. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. No one likes feeling stupider than the next person. That trick, then, is to make your victims feel smart. And not just smart, but smarter than you are. Once convinced of this, they will never suspect that you have any ulterior motives.
You know what that reminds me of, actually? I just watched a movie on this. It was called The Usual Suspects. And Kevin Spacey played a character. I don't know what he was, but he almost had like a mental retardation the whole movie moving into it. And they all spoke of this guy, Kevin Soizer or something like that. It was called Kyler Soizer. And it was like this figurative kind of guy the whole time, this BA, like you don't screw with this gang member boss guy. Anyway, he's filling the cops in all about this Kyler Soizer guy. At the end of the movie, he corrects his walking. He's walking normal. He is Kyler Soizer. And he got away with the whole crime.
For just playing dumb.
Yep, playing dumb. They never would have thought it was him.
I mean, this is even a way, a majority of people, I'm going to say this out the bat, are weak-minded fools. And you could, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but you can manipulate a weak-minded fool. I mean, all of you people who have seen Star Wars out there, the Force works strongly on the weak-minded. Like, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Everybody knows that. But play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. I mean, obviously, nobody likes feeling smarter than the next person, except Inform Nation. We like to appreciate our intelligence, and I know you out there appreciate your intelligence as well. But if you make your victims seem smart, you won't be considered to be the adversary. They're not going to look to you to be, oh, this guy's smarter than me, then I need to watch out for him. I mean, that even goes with Law 1. I mean, never outshine the master. Always seem like the less smart one. Hide your motives underneath the surface, underneath your unintelligence, and then come upon them when the time is right.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be so unexpected when you're actually the smarter one and you're playing the dumber one. And then when it's your time to shine, you come out and it's almost like that element of surprise is what it is.
And they'll never expect you.
Exactly. Let's bust into law number 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you the time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. And I read this whole chapter on this, and it literally talks about the Spartans were going against the Greeks and some other realm, and they were actually very weak. This little Spartan island, but they were backed up by the Spartans. I think they were called the Athenians, or not the Athenians. No, it's not the Athenians. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but we'll just say that they were a part of Sparta that didn't have the big warriors behind them. And this other country was coming in, and they wanted to take it over. And they said, well, you either need to give up, or we're going to come here, rape, pillage, take your women and children as slaves. And so they were like, no, we're going to fight for it. We have pride. And what ended up happening is that other country ended up coming in, wiping out all their people, and ended up taking over all their land and their whole country. And Sparta never came in to back them up, because Sparta knew it was too small of a battle to start a war with this other country that was big. And so what ended up happening is, they said in the book, is those people should have surrendered first, let them act as kind of like dumber than your mark, almost act like dumb, let them come in, let them bring their traditions and culture in, but in the meantime, start focusing on how to get back at them. In the meantime. So now, all your people are dead. You have nothing to fight with anymore. But if you surrender first, you still have weapons or people or whatever it is to still fight with that you could use at a later time.
You can conserve your resources. You can conserve your warriors and your generals and your smart people. You can put them on the back burner, let things build, find a way to start a little bit of a resistance, and using the surrender as a form of power instead of a form of weakness, because it turns you into the underdog. And everybody loves an underdog.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Let's go right into law 23. Concentrate your forces. Here we go. Conserve your forces and energy by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than fiddling with one shallow mine to another. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to evaluate you, find the one key patron.
Elevate you. Sorry.
There you go. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, find that one key patron, the fat cow who will give you the milk for a long time to come. And this is not about, what this is basically saying is, don't spread your opportunities or your resources too thin. Find out where your strong suits are. Find out what, even in your personal life, find out what best fits you, what you are strong at doing, and intensifying that. Don't spread all your forces too thin where you have to deal with the weak ones and you can't concentrate on the strong ones.
And what they say is, the saying is, oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yet, on the flip side of that, it is beneficial to put all your eggs in one basket, because then you'll fill up that basket, first off, faster, and it'll overflow into the other baskets that you have around it. So it's just like even in business. You want to concentrate, like you were saying, on your most powerful attribute. What makes you shine? Focus on that key part, and then the other parts will start filling themselves in. Or you could delegate those to other sorts of people around you and have them work on those. But great businessmen of all time always focus on their strong points. They don't really try to bring up their weaknesses too much unless they have to.
Absolutely.
But you always want to focus on that strong point.
Hey, all of you who just joined us right now, you're listening to Inform Nation. We're covering the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. If you read this book, or if you have any questions on it and you want to call in and talk to us, 630-445-1213. That is 630-445-1213. We'll get you up and on the air and get your questions about the 48 Laws of Power. So getting just Law 24. I mean, go ahead and hit it with Law 24.
Play the perfect courtier. The perfect courtier thrives in a world where everything revolves around power and political dexterity. He has mastered the art of indirection, he flatters, he yields to superiors, and asserts power over others in the most oblique and graceful manner. Learn and apply the laws of courtiership, and there will be no limit to how far you can rise in the court. Meaning, if you're a king, for instance, you have people around you that are trying to please you at all times. Be the guy that pleases the king. Be on his good side. It kind of goes along with the side of kiss a little bit of ass. Kissing a little bit of ass goes a far way. Using flattery, but also at the same time, you can't. On the flip side of it, you can't go too far with it, where
you're a full blown kiss ass, and that's all you're known for. Kiss asses as they apply, how they can suit you. Don't just be a kiss ass 24/7, because that's all people will know you as. But if you want something, if you're urging for something, kiss a little ass, and you'll get it.
I mean, even your fellow peers that are in the same rankings as you, you're gonna want to kiss even their ass a little bit to make them feel special. So on the other end, they're not gonna be talking about you then, or putting bad juju on you, or talking to the king about, or other people around, and kind of making you sort of this bad influence around them.
And it pushes you away from the bad gossip. It keeps you on the good side.
Yeah.
Even in the analogy of the eye of the king. The king knows that, even if people are talking crap about you, he knows that, this guy's a good guy. He's been with me. He's even kissed a little bit of ass, but he's been with me. He's been loyal. So he'll recognize that in front of all the bullshit.
Exactly.
Law 25, recreate yourself. Do not attempt the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the mastery of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your political gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life.
Yeah, so I'm gonna break it down, because I read this full chapter. It was actually a lady that wanted to be a writer, but it was in a time back in Europe when ladies and women really weren't in the I would say they weren't in the highest esteem when it came to writing novels. So what she did was she made kind of like a ghostwriter name named George Smith or something like that, and she started to put on this persona. When she would go in public now, she would dress in like big long coats, she'd wear boots like men, she smoked cigars like men, drank like men, started talking like men. Yet when she got home, she was a lady, she was very much ladylike and everything, but out in the world, she actually put this persona on, and she recreated herself into the persona of this ghostwriter name that she was writing under. And she actually became very popular by doing that. And a lot of actually men appreciated her for kind of coming off this way, and kind of in a time where women weren't in the prestigious position of writing novels.
I even like just the first sentence. Do not accept the roles that society foists upon you. How many times have we talked in Informed Nation before about that corporate world system that we're all in, that we all feel like we don't want to be a part of it? Don't accept the roles that society foists upon you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity. Be yourself. Live your dream. That's what we're doing right here. We're living our dream. Did we just go to college and just get a corporate job? No, I did not. I dropped out of college to start my own thing, and recreate myself and expose my own image. And you can do the same thing for yourself as well. What's your passion? What's your goal? What's your drive? What's your dream? What do you dream about at night? What do you wake up in the morning thinking about? How can you be the best version of yourself? To quote Elliot Holtz, he came up with the best line: "Be the best version of yourself.
Be the strongest version of yourself.
Be the strongest version of yourself, even better."
It just goes into being who you want to be. You want to talk to someone, you want to say something to someone in a certain way. Well, do it, or create the persona that you can be out in public and be that person of strength. Don't just let your friends or your family dictate who you're going to be in life.
Yep.
Make that decision yourself and keep on, building yourself. You're a piece of art. You want to keep sculpting yourself. Bodybuilders sculpt themselves physically. Sculpt yourself mentally and characteristically, and then you'll turn into a person who you've always wanted to be.
Absolutely.
Law number 26 here, keep your hands clean. And I don't just mean with hand sanitizer. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats, and cat's paws to disguise your involvement. I mean, we see this happen all the time.
Absolutely. Can I say Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
Can I say her? Absolutely. What has she been doing? She's been using scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise her involvement in dirty criminal activity. She's keeping her own hands clean. I mean, this works in any sort of environment. Nobody wants the blame on them, right? When you're with your friends, nobody wants the blame on them. Everybody wants to be the clean person. Everybody wants to wash their hands of all the bullshit and the garbage. Would rather pass the buck on and have somebody else deal with it than deal with it themselves. But go ahead.
No, keep on going.
I
mean, you know, Hitler had scapegoats. He had the Jews as scapegoats. He said that they were the problems of all their financial issues. So he wanted to exterminate the Jewish population. And so that was a scapegoat method. If anyone doesn't know exactly what a scapegoat is, I mean, that's kind of scapegoat method. It's like pointing the finger over there. It's like, oh, it was that guy. That's the guy that did it. Oh, not me. No, not me. That guy.
Blood on your hands. Your hands are filthy red with blood, but you're just like, no. It was him.
Yep.
It was him. It was that guy standing right there, just minding his own business.
Yep.
And what has it done? It's helped people gain positions of power in a bad way and a good way. By keeping your hands clean in a good way, you're not getting dirt on you. You're not getting gossip about you. You're upholding your reputation. You're keeping yourself in a straight line where people know you. They don't know your dirt. They know your positivity.
Yep.
Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have overwhelming desire to believe in something. Isn't that true? Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. Keep your words vague, but full of promise. Empathize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. Oh my God, here we go. Give your new disciples rituals to perform. Ask them to make sacrifices on your behalf. In the absence of organized religion and grand causes, your new belief system will bring you untold power.
I mean, this plays true with a lot that even goes on right now. I mean, we're seeing that religion is dying. And even that could be played on religion, right? So it's giving people something to believe in. You can also play on it as like this new age belief system that's going around out there right now. You know, we're all one. We're all the same thing. We're this cosmic energy and whatnot. It's not saying I believe or don't believe it, but what I'm saying is it's that cult-like following. I mean, we saw, what's his name? Whatever Manson. Why can't I think his name?
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. I mean, he had a cult-like following. He made people believe something, and I mean, they sacrificed to the extent of actually killing themselves in order to fulfill his needs of this sort of belief system that he had him on track for. And I'm not always saying that, and I don't mean to cut you off here, is that, you know, a cult's not always bad. Everyone sticks this bad kind of notion with cult, right? So I actually think in certain instances, a cult-like mentality might be very beneficial as in like teams, right? So, you know, you see professional teams, they all like, oh, we're all about this team. Or you even see like Cubs fans or stuff like that. It's like a little cult almost in there. But you're for your team. You're going to work harder. You're fully enveloped into that process or whatever you're doing. And sometimes it's beneficial, it's not beneficial where you start throwing out the window rational and clear thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, doesn't this sound like the words of every politician ever? Keep your words vague, but full of promise. And emphasize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. This sounds like every politician ever. They're just going to give you false promises and false ideologies to emphasize the enthusiasm behind such ideologies over the rationality and clear thinking about it. I mean, I even talked about this extensively with the Bernie Sanders campaign that was heavy with millennials and young people. Giving them the false sense of hope and the free things and everything's going to be better if we just get a bunch of socialism and communism going. but it's a vague sense of promise. And there's no rationality and clear thinking behind any of those ideologies. Yes, to a point, yes, but in the real world, things don't work out like that.
And that's, that's the political thing. They give you the runaround, You try to have them answer a question in a technical sense, and they'll just give you some vague runaround, and they'll give you a little bit of information that you like to hear out of it. Like, oh, your healthcare is going to be free or something, or you'll still keep your doctor. But we all know that was different. But it was this false sense of hope that we had for all these things. It was by them keeping everything vague so they don't exactly get held fully responsible for it. In the end, it almost is like that scapegoat thing. You can kind of find a way out of it with your words.
And they don't give you a clear answer, so you have to answer the question yourself. So then you believe the answer that you gave yourself, and he didn't even give you the answer to begin with.
Exactly. Law number 28, enter action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through the audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one honors the timid. And that's with anything. If you're going to do something, just like I was saying, put all your eggs in one basket. Go full-fledged at it.
Absolutely.
And go get at it. Go do it. If you're going to be like, oh, well, this, and this, you're going to be racking your brain with all these other counterproductive thoughts, and you're never going to go get it done. So just keep your mind on track. Be like a horse with its blinders on, and just go straight and go 100% forward.
Absolutely, 110%. Aim for that goal. Strive for that thing. It's better to die on your feet than live on your knees.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, do it. Do it 100%. What does Yoda say? Do or do not. There is no try. If you say you're going to try, enter action with boldness. If you don't have that boldness, you just say, I'm going to try, then you've already half failed because you're never going to give it 110%.
And that's what I tell everyone. And I visit a lot of stores. They're like, oh, I'll try to do this. And my idea is, I'm like, well, if you're trying, you already have the intention of failing.
Yep.
Either, like you said, either you do or do not. Go get it done. There's always a way to get it done. Go do it. And a lot of people don't like to think that way because they're lazy. But if you keep on pushing and your brain starts racking in creative ways of figuring something out, you will get it done. You have to start speaking like that too. Will, can, do. Not can't, not try. None of those words. Just will, can, and do.
Absolutely. Even Law 28 just couples right here into Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. By having realistic goals and aiming for the future and getting it done to the very end, not stopping.
No, you can see this. There's been plans even, I know a lot of people say it's a conspiracy, but, they've been talking about the New World Order for a long time. And, I hate to bust into this for people who don't believe this, but it's a long plan that they've had for a long time.
And they admit it.
They've talked about this for roughly, at least since I've been alive, George Bush Sr. brought it up on television. Now, you see it everywhere. But they even had it back on the dollar bill. Novus Ordo Seclorum. And that stands for what? The new ages or the New World Age or
New World Order.
Yeah, New World Order. I think it doesn't stand exactly for New World Order, but it's like new ages of
New Secular Order.
Yeah. And so they've had this plan for a long time. If you ever look, we did a show on the history of the United States and where it came from and the esoteric founding of it. They built this nation based upon philosophical ideas from Aristotle, Bacon, Sir Francis Bacon. And all these were philosophical ideas that they had and that they wanted to bring into fruition into this country called America now. It's almost like the new Atlantis. Yet, did they think about this, 200-300 years ago? I bet they did. And they've been correcting course all the way through.
They're involved in 50 to 100-year plans. These people are involved heavily in the future. They have large amounts of money tied up into the futures. They even have stocks and bonds called futures. They're planning for the future. Why aren't you? Why aren't you planning in your own life for the future?
Make
Like,
a goal, set it on your calendar. I mean, plan to the end, figure it out, and make it realistic. You can have dreams, and you can have that big dream set, 20, 30 years off in the future, but give yourself something to accomplish on the way there. Because then once you reach that accomplishment, you'll feel that energy that you get from accomplishing something and gaining that goal, and then you'll be able to go to the next one a little bit easier, and then the next one a little bit easier. And then sooner or later, it becomes this goal-oriented process that you're just now in, and it's a routine.
and it's just success, 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 success because you attributed the 48 laws of power to your life.
And talking about accomplishments, we'll bust into law number 30 here. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. All the toil and practice that go into them, and also all the clever tricks must be concealed. When you act effortlessly, as if you could do much more. Avoid temptation of revealing how hard you work. It only raises questions. Teach no one your tricks, or they will be used against you. Now, I believe this to a certain extent. If you're playing with a team, you're going to want to let your team in on your tricks.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're around enemies, you're not going to want them to know your tricks of the trade. And, you should probably, like it says, and I want to say maybe it's law number 4. I don't know what it is off the top of my head right now. But always say less than necessary.
That is law 4.
Yeah, so speaking to the make your accomplish seem effortless, don't go so far in telling people everything that you're doing to make something happen. Make it seem easy. Delegate it to other people and make that happen. I mean, I think that's kind of what it's all about.
I mean, if you make it seem like you struggled hard and made everybody look at you like you're struggling so hard to get your accomplishment that you made it here and it took you forever, people are going to be like, "Oh, okay, well that's way too hard to accomplish. I'm surprised he even did it." But if you make it seem effortless, like it just took nothing to do, it just all you had to do was stand up off the couch, was put down Pokemon Go, and actually go outside and start living your dream and making your accomplishments known, that's all it takes. It doesn't take this giant world. You don't have to move a mountain to do it. Mm-hmm. You just have to get up and start doing it, and it's effortless. And if when other people see that all they had to do was just stand up and start doing it, then people will.
And that's a domino effect. And the guy Gary Vaynerchuk, I listen to a lot and I read a lot of his books. But I mean, he's the one that gives you a blunt depiction of what it actually takes to be successful. A lot of people say, you just got to do it. And to a certain extent, yes, you do just have to get up. You have to get out of bed. You have to go after that dream. And he's like, it takes a lot of work. He goes, we all make it seem great. And we all have these talks and these seminars and everything. We all tell you these key little things. But the one thing that he tells you, he goes, it's not easy. He goes, It's not for everyone. It's not easy. It's going to take a lot of long nights, a lot of long days. You're not going to see your family. You're going to be on the road a lot. You're going to be bashing your head against the wall, being like, I don't know what to do next. Yet, sooner or later, you'll catch up with yourself and you'll do something out of it. And what I will say is if you could take that first initial step into doing your dreams or your passions or your desires, is that all the corresponding steps after that will fall a lot easier.
Every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and it's easy and effortless. Law 31, control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The best deceptions are ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel that they are in control, but are actually your puppets. Give people options that come out of your favor, whichever one you choose. Force them to make choices, better the lesser of two evils. No, but force them to make choices between the lesser of two evils, both of which serve your purpose. Put them on the horns of a dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn.
Elections 2016.
I was just about to say it myself. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. Who's the better? The lesser of two evils.
In my behalf, I'll say Trump, but I mean, I don't know if we're going to get gored by Donald Trump either. So, I mean, that's the idea of it, right? You only split between left and right.
Absolutely. I mean, you're only stuck in this left-right box. It means you're only going to get what the results of the left-right box.
I mean, a lot of the very wealthy people, the Rothschilds, funded the Napoleonic Wars. They funded both sides of the wars. And they knew who was going to win, and they took bets on both sides. They gave both countries money to fund their wars. Just like we do now, the United States gives money. If you've ever heard Obama talk about it, he says that we are funding ISIL with money to go against the Assad regime. Yet 2 months later, he goes, oh, well, we're after ISIL. So what does that mean? It means that we're funding these people that are actually shooting our own weapons or the weapons that we paid for back against us. You're playing both sides of the fence. No matter what happens, you win. You created an outcome that you wanted to see happen.
And
everybody's the dumber.
I was going to say that's what Benghazi was all about. They got caught giving weapons to ISIS. So they had to cover it up quickly. Hillary Clinton was going to get the blame. Now she didn't. Now she's going to run for president. So give people options that they, when they choose, it's in your favor. Play both sides of the system. Play both sides of an argument. If you're seeking power in a company or something like that, play both sides of the power struggle within the company. Either way, you're going to come out on top.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then law number 32 here, play to people's fantasies. The truth is often avoided because it is ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to truth and reality unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is a great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. I mean, the socialists, and I hate to keep on going political here, but you could see so much in this by the elite powers that rule these nations across the world. And to tap into people's fantasies of the masses would be talking about this utopian idea that comes from A, socialism, or B, communism. I mean, it's this conspiracy, this utopian fantasy that's never actually going to be possible, but they play to it on people that they say, oh, it's going to be, like God on earth. It's going to be the best thing ever. But it's not, and it's playing to people's fantasies, and people go along with it.
I mean, even when the space race was turning around in the 60s and 70s, even they wrote the book 2001: A Space Odyssey. They were supposed to be flying cars by now. Did you see how they played into everybody's fantasies back then, telling them that the future was going to be so great? Where is this great future that we were promised? They played into our fantasies. They played into our illusions, and we fell for it. And people do. When you tell somebody a story, they're enchanted by the story. They want that life is like it says, life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in a desert. It's the storytellers, the believers, the people who can make you believe anything, the great salesmen out there who can sell you a bridge. No, I got a bridge. I'll sell you. Anybody will buy it because they're so hooked, and they know nothing but to be hooked. They've been dumped down from television all their life. They've been sold television all their life, and the commercials on it, they're easy to get to.
Selling ice to an Eskimo.
Absolutely.
He doesn't need it, but you play to his fantasies. You talked it up. You made it this great thing. You didn't need it in the end.
You told him that Igloo was going to be amazing and 10 feet tall, and you
told him that you'd give him lifetime ice, and that global warming was gonna melt his whole little village, and that with the lifetime ice, that we'll ship you in ice on ships, and so you'll never have to go a brick out of your Eskimo castle, or I don't know.
The moral of Law 32: don't be gullible.
Yeah,
but stick to what you know.
Mm-hmm. Law number 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall. That weakness is usually an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion or need. It can also be a small secret pleasure. Either way, once found, it is a thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage. Always find somebody's weak point. Play on that weak point to the point where you will overpower them and take control based upon that weak point. And there was that, I can't think of his name. Who's that guy that was always in politics? And he wrote all these laws, and he ran for president a couple times. They did a documentary on him. And God, he was after the oil companies. He was after the car companies a while ago. Oh,
I don't know.
He was like the perfect. He was like the spitting image of almost like the perfect man. And they tried to find this guy's thumbscrew. They sent women into a grocery store after him and tried to convince him into sex and try to get something on this guy. But he never gave in to anything. and he's still around to this day, and I can't think of his name, but he's very well known. He was always kind of like this
Oh my,
guy
help me.
poking sticks at the big guy. Kind of, I can't think of his name. It's
But
driving
either,
me nuts.
I mean, either way, it shows how much virtue that man has. He shows that he's so virtuous that he cannot be tempted. I mean, patient. It's a virtue for him. Temptation was unable to get to him. But Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you carry yourself will often determine how you are treated. In the long run, appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself and aspires the same sentiments in others. By acting regally and confident in your powers, you make yourself designed, destined to wear a crown. How often? Okay, I'm just gonna tap right into this right here. The whole Black Lives Matter movement. Oh, but the police just target black people because they're black. How is it not the way that you carry yourself often determines how you are treated? If you go around acting like a fool, and this goes to white trash as well, and wetbacks and hicks and all the dirty pond scum out there that are making everybody look bad. Yeah, I'm talking to you, trashy people of all race, colors, and creeds. If you don't carry yourself in the way you carry yourself determines how you're treated. All right. If you disrespect yourself, and people will disrespect you.
You're going to act like a fool. You're going to be treated like a fool.
Absolutely. You are who you hang around with. You hang around with trash. If you act like trash, if you're just a disrespectful person, if you don't hold your head high when you walk down the street, if you don't hold that door open, if you don't say please and thank you, like a common human being does to other common human beings, people are not going to like you. Like everybody says, I mean, especially I always say, I'm not a racist, I'm a classist. I hate low classy people. Just the douchebag, the scum, the idiot.
Even the richest guy in the world can be an unclassy fellow.
Absolutely.
Be a gentleman. If you're a man, be a gentleman. If you're a lady, be a lady. I mean, yeah, you could play around with both of them and whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, are you a good person? Do you have respect? Are you loyal to the people around you? Are you deceitful? These are the questions that you have to start asking yourself, and then look back onto the world and how it's reflecting back at you and say, I'm actually a very disrespectful person, and people disrespect me an awful lot. Law of attraction says you're disrespectful, that you're going to get it back onto you.
Like I saw a meme the other day that really stuck with me. I judge people on how they treat wait staff and what they do with their cart at the grocery store when they're done with it. If you see a person actually walk on the other side of the parking lot to go put their cart away in the car corral, you know that person's got some integrity in themselves. They're not the person that just pushed it up on the little island right next to them because they couldn't take 10 steps to go put their cart away. What does it show about somebody?
The funny thing is Robert Kapuska had something like that as well. I'm like, I make a game out of the cart thing. I'm like, I try to go as far as away from the cart thing, and I try to push it in like it's a goal.
Me too. I've always done that. Try to get the cart to go in there a long distance.
Yeah, make it fun. I mean, why not? Bring the cart back. Be respectful, but make fun out of it at the same time. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be monotonous. Make a little fun out of it.
But treat yourself with respect and treat others with respect, and then finally things will go good for you in your life.
Just to finish this one off, fake it until you make it. Start brainwashing yourself. You don't think positive thoughts, brainwash them. Brainwash being nice. Guess what? You'll start being nice. I've done it myself. You start doing things, you just do it because you're kind of practicing it in your head, or you're dressing a certain way. Fake it until you make it. Also, number 35, master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem patient, as if you know that everything will come to you eventually. Become a detective of the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times, the trends that will carry you to power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe, and strike fiercely when it has reached its fruition. So meaning, hold back. Look what's going on around you before you go and attack something. You
Don't
know,
just act impulsively. Study the situation, the art of war. Sit back, relax, observe the battlefield, observe the situation, and then find out where to make your points. Pick your battles, basically.
it's even like, in conversation, you can sit there and watch when you want to talk about something. Watch when to interject a certain comment. And a great thing that to do if you're trying to sit back, and maybe some people are nervous or some people, their hearts start racing and everything. And what Elliot Holst teaches is breathe into your belly. You'll start becoming calmer, which will actually help you start to pull back from almost the reality that you're in. And you'll start to look at it in a way where you can think about how to react to this situation a lot easier, a lot faster, and you know what to say a lot more. Instead of just acting impulsively, going boom, 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 boom.
Don't just get triggered by any word you hear.
Yeah,
Don't have little microaggressions and triggering like some of these new people out here. It's ridiculous. Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. By acknowledging a petty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more attention you pay to an enemy, the stronger you make him. And a small mistake is often made worse and more visible when you try to fix it. It's sometimes best to leave things alone. If there is something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem.
And I'm going to bust into this one for all either the men or women out there. This goes into dating or flirting or any of that. You can see this happen all the time. The more interested you seem or the more needy you look, the less interested the other person is. So it makes them pull away. But if you play it cool.
Play hard to get.
Yeah.
Sit back a little bit. Make them want to come at you a little bit more.
Make them want to join your party.
Yeah. Like, sit back, come out. Sit back, come out. Play with them a little bit, and then they'll test you, and you can test them, and you can see how good it is.
I mean, that's the thing, especially if you have an enemy. I started to cut you off right there.
Go ahead.
Especially if you have an enemy, if you keep on playing in to their, tactics on, pissing you off or aggravating you, you're just feeding them even more. Pull back from it. And then they'll be like, well, what the hell? Like, why are they acting like this? Why are they turning the other cheek? So yeah, definitely don't act like you want it. Just kind of sit back, kind of like the master art of timing. Sit back, let it happen, play it cool.
And everything will fall into your lap.
Yes.
Law 37, create compelling spectacles. Striking imagery and grand symbolic gestures create the aura of power. Everyone responds to them. Stage spectacles for those around you. Then, full of arresting visuals and radiant symbols that heighten your presence. Dazzled by appearances, no one will notice what you are really doing.
Magicians!
You ever notice how when a magician wants to make something disappear, there's a giant flash or something over here, or a really hot, distracting woman over there to keep your eyes gazed. So he's back here fiddling with the controls. He's back here. Don't pay attention to that man behind the curtain.
It's almost like he'll try to show you his other hand really quick while his other hand's doing something else.
So never let the right hand know what the left hand is doing.
Exactly. Law number 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. They will find a way to punish you for making them feel inferior. It is far safer to blend in and nurture the common touch. Share your originality only with tolerant friends and those who you are sure to appreciate your uniqueness. Meaning, don't act crazy in front of a lot of people. Play it smooth in the beginning, and then you can start busting into real deep, intense conversations. It's just almost like what we talk about, even on Informed Nation. We talk about a lot. Me and you can sit there, and we can talk about this and these political ideas and this, and people would think it's crazy. We can talk about Monsanto, we can talk about the government, the elite, secret societies, and we can talk about all this or laws that have happened. But if you were to bring that up with an ordinary person, they'd be like, oh, you're crazy. And they would think that you are crazy, or they would think that you're just going above and beyond their head and that you're just speaking on top of them, making them feel inferior.
Yeah, you're speaking down to them because you feel like you're so smart, like you know everything. But if you appeal to the common person, and if you think like but behave, think as you like but behave like others. If you keep it in the back, and as soon as that right moment comes, like we talked about before, match the art of timing, then you can slip in your smart, not smart remark or your intelligent comment, and kind of take people off guard and make them think.
And people might notice you then.
Yeah, exactly. You're not shoving it in their face where they're kind of like, all right, well, I wasn't expecting all this. I don't want it. You kind of slipped it in there when they had their guard down a little bit when they trusted you. And then you got it right to them. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective. But if you can make your enemies angry while staying calm yourself, you gain a decided advantage. Put your enemies off balance. Find the kink in their vanity and through which you can rattle them and hold the strings.
I mean, that's like what I said before. Breathe deeply, stay back, don't get enveloped in your emotions, even with a girlfriend, a friend, whatever it is. If an argument's breaking out with your parents, whatever it may be, sit there, be calm, talk about it calmly. If the other person's very angry, it's going to piss them off, honestly, even more.
Any word is just going to just trigger them even more. But that's what it says. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. If you're fighting fire with fire in an argument, you're never going to solve that argument.
Just making things hotter.
You're never going to put that fire out. But if you fight fire with water, that cool, smooth, crisp, flowing water, that fire will be extinguished. And then you will have the advantage over the other person.
Law number 40. Despise the free lunch for all you welfare people. Just despise the free lunch. That's just all it's called. It doesn't say the welfare people in there. I just threw that in. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. What has worth is worth paying for. By paying your own way, you stay clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. It is also often wise to pay the full price. There is no cutting corners with excellence. Be lavish with your money and keep it circulating, for generosity is a sign and a magnet of power. And I'll be with this one. I bought a Mac. And why did I buy a Mac? Because a Mac is worth a Mac. And I'm going to pay a high-ass price tag for this Mac because I know it's worth every penny and I wasn't going to cut a corner. And you can see that companies that cut corners, boom, a couple years, they're done.
I mean, look at McDonald's. Look at instantly cut corners, made crappy, shitty food, just no nutrients, no nothing inside their food. And what did it do? It bit them in the ass. It all the way down. No one wants to go to McDonald's anymore. Why? Because everybody despises the free lunch. If that thing's worth $1, it must only create cents to make. Who's going to want things that are worth cents? And exactly what you said is about the welfare. Despise the free lunch. The free handouts and everything is a trick and a hidden obligation. It just signs you on to a type of slavery.
There's an obligation that you have to pay to the state, and that obligation is keep on getting your checks, don't get a job. You're going to go on our healthcare system. You're going to get implanted with a chip. And not to mention in California, since July 1st, they have mandatory vaccines. If you want to use their free education, public schools, you have to go by their ways. Either you believe in them or you don't. You don't really have an option.
That's socialism, folks. That's what it is. If you live in your father's house, you must obey your father's rules. You have no freedom. You go to bed when he says, you eat at the table when he says, you come home when he says. And you have no obligation because you subjugated yourself to that. But anyway, Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What happens first always appears better and more original than what comes after. If you succeed a great man or have a famous parent, you will have to accomplish double their achievements to outshine them. If you do not get lost in their shadow or stuck in the past, not in your own making, establish your own name and identity by changing course. Slay the overbearing father, disparage his legacy, and gain power by shining in your own way.
I can only imagine what it's like if I know Michael Jordan's son wanted to play basketball, and I knew he played in a division that was in my high school. But I mean, you're playing basketball, you got a high standard to beat, man. Double as good as your dad, Even LeBron James, Stephen Curry can't do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's that's the thing. Even like what's his name over in North Korea right now?
Kim Jong Il.
Kim Jong Il. He's got to beat out Kim Jong Un or whatever. Kim Jong Il's got to beat out Kim Jong Un or whatever their names are.
You got to be it's better than your dad. And many people can. If your dad is a great philosopher king in his craft, be it sports or politics or acting or anything, if he's that philosopher king in his craft that brought so much greatness, if you also try to rise up in the same field as that person, not even just your father, but say just another great person, like you have to outshine double the amount they did for them to even forget about that. Like who honestly can say out there that they're going to rise to be the next George Washington? Never. No one could, because the man was so great. His image is so big that you can't take him down.
Go after something else. Go after another thing where you can be the great person at it.
Forge your own path. Don't just follow what others do.
Law number 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single strong individual, the stirrer, the arrogant underlying, the poisoner of the goodwill. If you allow such people room to operate, others will succumb to their influence. Do not wait for the troubles they cause to multiply. Do not try to negotiate with them. They are irredeemable. Neutralize their influence by isolating or banishing them. Strike at the source of the trouble, and the sheep will scatter. Meaning, take out the highest power of something, and everyone else will scatter.
Sever the head and the body will die. Just the same thing as they went after the mob with the RICO acts in New York City in the 80s. How did they take down the mob? They didn't take down the mob by going after the small little the enforcer or the money collector or the small underboss. They went after the dons. They took the heads of the families out, and everything just crumbled underneath because there was such a power struggle. They were unable to come back from it. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into waiting. Excuse me. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. The way to seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weakness. Soften up the resistant by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you.
So you have to work on the hearts of people. You got to get them emotionally attached to you, your cause, whatever you're trying to do with them. It almost goes into the idea of play to people's their opportunistic side. Just like we were talking about in the previous episode where, hey, I got some money for you. Do you want to come pick me up? Play to their
self-interest.
Self-interest. There you go. Play to their self-interest. It goes along with play to the hearts and minds of others. So play to their mind. Give them the fantasies, as we talked about earlier. Get an emotion out of them. Feel something. Make them feel.
It's like what we brought up last week with car commercials. They don't sell you the car because you already have a car. They sell, and it has four wheels and it drives straight. They sell you the car for all the bells and whistles and all the fun things that you think you'll be able to do with it. And that's how they work. They play into your hearts and minds, and they soften up the resistant by working on their emotions.
Exactly. Law number 44, disarm and infuriate with a mirror effect. The mirror reflects reality, but is also the perfect tool for deception. When you mirror your enemies, doing exactly as they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. The mirror effect mocks and humiliates them, making them overreact. By holding up a mirror to their psyches, you seduce them with the illusion that you share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. Few can resist the power of the mirror effect. It was just into, say you have somebody that's doing something that you don't like, and they're like, oh, well, it's perfectly fine. Do it back at them. See what they think. It's the quickest, honestly, I even personally, I think it's the quickest way of getting through to somebody is actually mirroring their kind of whatever they're doing back at them. Mirror their actions back at them, speak how they speak, and they'll kind of pick up on it really quick, and they might actually change, like, oh, wow, that was true. I shouldn't act like that. Do unto others as you want done unto you. So.
Absolutely. Law 45, Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. This is perfect. Listen, everybody, right now. Law 45 is exactly what's going on today, and this is how we're going to make things change for the better. Not just hope and change like Obama said, but real change that's going to affect real realities down to the individual level. Law 45. Everyone understands the need for change in the abstract, but on the day-to-day level, people are creatures of habit. Too much innovation is traumatic, but will lead to revolt. If you are new to a position of power or an outsider trying to build a power base, make a show of respecting the old way of doing things. If change is necessary, make it feel like a gentle improvement on the past. Is exactly what's going on today. And why are people up in arms about absolutely everything that's going on? Because things are changing too quickly. And people are seeing it. There's no time to settle and adjust in order to the change to say, okay, well, we've gotten that part out of the way. Let's chill and then we'll work on something else. It's change. Happens every day and people are taking back.
And
But
that's why you see a lot of this resistance and stuff building up now, where you see a lot of these like "Don't Tread on Me" flags. You see a lot of these little like militias getting started up because whoever these upper elite people did things a little too quick, and people caught on.
They had to expose themselves in order to get their agenda through. And now that people know that the agenda is occurring, they're resisting to it. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. And this goes for all you Black Lives Matter folks out there. You guys want change? You guys want the police gone? You want white people gone? Good luck doing it. And first of all, if you reform anything way too quick, people are going to backlash at you. And this is for anybody out there that wants any type of change. You Bernie Sanders folks, even some of you Trump people that just want the wall today and want all the Muslims gone tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to slowly work towards things, a small increment. It's like turning up the pot on the frog. As soon as if it's a hot pot of water and you throw the frog in there, he'll jump out. But if you slowly turn him up, if you slowly get good things going and slowly make changes, you will accomplish all goals, all of them, for all people within a decent amount of time. Law 46, Alex.
Never appear too perfect. Appearing better than others is always dangerous, but most dangerous of all is to appear to have no faults or weaknesses. Envy creates silent enemies. It is smart to occasionally display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. Only gods and the dead can seem perfect with impunity. And that plays so true to even getting people to open up to you, is that if you open up yourself and you admit your faults and you admit what you've done wrong and how unperfect you are, people will respect that and they will open up to you in the long run. Not to mention, you keep on just saying how great you are, people are going to hate you. People don't want to know how great you are because they think they're not great.
If you bring yourself down to a level of humanity and you understand, and they understand as well, that you are just a human being just like them with faults, and you expose yourself as being human, they will respect that and cling to you more and give you more responsibility and more power. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. The moment in victory is often the moment of greatest peril. In the heat of victory, arrogance and overconfidence can push you past the goal you had aimed for. And by going too far, you make more enemies than you defeat. Do not allow success to go to your head. There is no substitute for strategy and careful planning. Set a goal, and when you reach it, stop.
Exactly. I mean, if you go too far, you're going to start stepping on other people's feet. It is really what it is.
I mean, when it shows, perfect example. When Hitler turned into Russia in the heat of winter, he was arrogant. He wanted to destroy the Soviet Union by the end of the year. So when winter came, he just turned his forces and headed right into Russia. What happened? Stalingrad. Look it up.
Should have waited.
You should have just waited to the spring, bro. Honestly, wait till the spring. You probably could have won. All right,
Exactly.
look it back. All
Law
right.
number 48. Assume formlessness. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept the fact that nothing is certain and no law is fixed. The best way to protect yourself is to be fluid and formless as water. Never bet on stability or lasting order. Everything changes. And the only constant in life is change. So you have to get used to change. Bruce Lee said, act as water. Form yourself to the glass. You know, water takes on every shape. It's an ice cube, it's water, it's mist. So, I mean, it's a gas. It's all these different things. And if you can form yourself to all these different shapes, you can be whoever you need to be in the right circumstances. And nobody will catch on to you. All these laws in this whole book have a counterside to them. There's always an exception to all these laws. If you play it the right way and you do it at the right time, there's always an exception. So as it says in here, nothing is permanent. It always can change. And so you always have to be willing to change.
The only constant is change for all the global warming people out there, right? The weather's always changing. Life is always changing. People are always changing. Moods are always changing. The sun rises, the sun sets. The days are always changing. The seasons are always changing. Life is fluid. It's not a solid. It's not a constant. And if you flow with life and you actually appreciate it as it comes and don't hold back, don't hold up your shield to it, and you accept the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Excellent book. That was Informed Nation's breakdown of it.
So keep your mind open.
Absolutely. Well, I hope all of you enjoyed the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Go out and get this book. Please do. If you like this, subscribe, like it, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube.
Subscribe down below.
Absolutely. You're not going to want to miss anything more coming from Informed Nation. I think next week we're going to talk about how Black lives don't matter, and we don't mean that in a ridiculous way. If you want more about it, you're going to have to be here next week, Sunday, 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For Informed Nation, we're signing out. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.